Oil has fallen sharply after Iran has said that the Strait of Hormuz is now fully open, and we have identified three things that are crucial to a good end to 2026 for the stock markets. So Steve, without further ado, can you dive into a little bit on what you think is the significance of this conflict being over for the time being?
Grayson, if the ceasefire can continue and we can come to the end of this war, earnings per share growth for first part of 2026 has been really good. It's been really good to our portfolios. And there's been a worry that if this war continues, it will end up dragging down earnings per share growth. But I think if this war can end soon, what you'll see is earnings will continue to do very well, and that will be very good for the stock market and our portfolios.
Another thing that we've been taking note of is how the oil prices have come down, and that is a big deal. And I think it ties in really well with the corporate earnings, because where do they get all their money from? It's from the everyday consumers like you and me. Things are twice as expensive at the pump. It puts a little bit of a strain on your budget. What we've also been able to see is inflation has cooled off a little bit over the last couple of years, which is definitely a welcome relief. We were a little bit worried about gas prices pushing things higher, but the Federal Reserve was worried about that too, and they were saying that they weren't going to cut interest rates. But what we've seen now is that Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell is coming out and saying, hey, okay, there's a rate cut on the table now. Do you think that they will end up having maybe one or two rate cuts this year?
I think there's a possibility that we may get at least one, the possibility of two rate cuts before the year ends, and this will help drive the stock market higher.
Just for the record, we are expecting a positive 2026, but one thing that this whole conflict has shown us is that even if things do look good, even if there aren't a whole lot of headwinds right there on the horizon, you can always have something come up and throw a wrench in things. With the conflict that was going on in Iran, with tariffs back at the beginning of 2025, we saw things really take a turn for 2-3 weeks because of what was going on. With that also being said, the future doesn't always hold great things all the time. Can you tell us what is really the big thing on our horizon that our listeners need to know about?
Well, we see something that we've been seeing for a long time, is that our debt is so high at $38 trillion. We're always looking at that, and I believe sooner or later that will come back to bite us. But will it be this year, next year, following year, 5 years down the road? Nobody really knows. We just got to keep an eye on it and make sure that we're not on the wrong side when it does turn south.
So what's the best thing for our viewers to do in the meantime?
If you're fully invested or somewhat fully invested, stay invested. If you have some cash sitting on the sidelines, I think it'd be now a good time to put back into the market. We see good things happening through the rest of this year. So I think to do what you've been doing, as long as you've been doing the right thing, and that's been investing.
We're once again optimistic for the rest of the year, and we hope that we've given you something of value. And if we have, like and subscribe for more.